or sometimes he for convenience. Let's make ChatGPT just be she.
God is always a she. What are you talking about?
To me, God's pronouns are we, us, ours, but whatever you want to put onto God. But no, I mean, it's like, well, okay, everyone tries to do the cute, like God's a woman thing, but
Mother Nature.
I agree.
God is black.
I think
oh, wait, Jesus is black. Hold on.
Jesus is
God
black,
is not black.
God's a woman, Holy Ghost is trans.
Who's trans? Also, did we
Holy
start?
Ghost.
Who's happening?
Oh,
I just said who's.
okay.
Oh shit. Okay. Well. Okay. I think the whole thing is like I don't understand why people aren't allowed to have conversations anymore. So I just need people who are braver than me. Because I'm scared. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared.
Okay, so basically what you want to do is have controversial conversations, but you don't want to have the guilt about, like, you don't want to be like the face, like you want us to be your shields.
Well, I'm edging my edginess.
Yeah, you're hedging your edginess
with like a
or you're edging yourself on your edginess.
I'm
with a pillow. Was that how you edged?
I was saying with a pillow, so it's not that edgy because it's soft.
Oh,
I think she wants us to protect her.
We're the pillows.
Yes, we're the pillows, and she's being edgy.
We're the pillows who are going to get hit when the other people get mad. Okay, I like this. I'm fine with that. I've already been putting myself out there for
pillow sweeper.
More and more.
I wanna. I don't know. I have nothing to lose. I guess
that'll be our Substack.
I guess I have nothing to lose.
Pillow punchers.
Yeah, if I'm gonna get canceled,
yeah, what do we have to lose?
There's so many things already. I've already been in a cyber mob, so they drugged up stuff that I didn't even know existed.
So I did want to ask you, Rosie, because I wrote some questions, and then one of them was like, how do you think you became different? Because I feel like we all look like we should be crazy left-wing liberal.
No,
yeah, but I feel like you're unique. And then I remembered that you have. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just trying to put snowflakes and woke together.
Woke flakes.
Woke flakes. Do you want to say that?
Woke
flakes. Anyway, okay. None of this was worth it. I'm sorry.
And then I remembered you had the podcast, which I was on. Plug the Out of the Box.
Yes.
So how do you think you got out of the box? Like, how did you become? Like, I know how I got here. Actually, I don't.
I don't know what here is.
I think that's a big part.
We were supposed to be doctors.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
You mean how did we become stand-up comedians? Childhood trauma.
But wouldn't that make all Asians stand-up comedians?
There's a saying. It says if you're a stand-up comedian, you are either touched too much or too little. Yeah. So I think
same
too little.
Same is true for therapists, I think, and a lot of. Although we can perform as kind of therapists. For
can confirm that most therapists are mentally unstable. I have a lot of friends that are therapists, and they definitely were attracted to it because their childhood was effed.
I am a comedian, and I have a degree in psychology.
Well, then you're insane.
Wait, do you? I didn't know that.
You're actually probably an insane person.
Yeah, well, I am aware of that, and so I keep a lid on it.
Yeah, I think I've realized recently, because I can never find a good therapist, probably because I can't afford a good therapist.
It's because you are the therapist.
I am the therapist. But yeah, I'm like, oh, you guys are just equally confused.
Oftentimes therapists, I think, fuck you up worse than you would yourself, because some of these people, especially nowadays, just are going to like comfort, enable, tell you, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like the stuff you see online. Some of the self-care, you know, this is my autistic trait, whatever. Some of that is probably useful, but then some of it's definitely not. It's just humans making stuff up. But if they put it on a certain kind of background, it feels good. If she says it in a really maternal voice, like you're gonna believe it. But like, we don't really have much evidence that you're going to be getting good advice from therapists or Instagram.
Well, they can't give any advice. That's the problem.
Or good
because it's not advice.
Vibes even.
It's not. You can't give advice because there's liability. So a therapist can't be like, you need to do this. Only that's why a lot of therapists leave therapy and become life coaches.
Right.
Because a life coach can tell you what to do and be like, do this. But a therapist is not supposed to give you advice.
But the older, better therapists I've had have just either been like smart enough to tell that I wasn't going to sue or or like you can put things in such and such a way that you're not technically giving advice, but you're really putting it out there. Like,
I had an awesome therapist that did that. That would be like, I would be like, just tell me what to do. And he would be like, do you think this is a good thing to do or this?
Right.
But technically they're not supposed to tell you. That's why they're always like, what do you think about this? Or how do you Well, how
Is
does
it
that
'cause of
make you
regulations
feel?
or because of types of training that they get?
It's regulation. So if you're a psychiatrist, which my cousin is, then you can give people meds to
Right.
help with symptoms. If you're a therapist or a counselor, it's for liability because someone can say, "Oh, my son killed himself and it's because you told him XYZ." So really, it's supposed to be about you helping to self-discover your own issues. But if you're messed up, you're not going to have the answers. I'm sorry.
Right.
This is the most litigious country.
Well,
Yeah.
people have been, even they did an experiment in like the 70s when they first kind of made computers, sort of, where they had people talking to the little computer, like rudimentary, not even AI really at all. But still, people were like using it because they were like, this is actually really helpful. So I bet you could get ChatGPT to be a pretty good therapist for you at this point.
ChatGPT
Yeah.
is basically a therapist. If you ask ChatGPT any question about problems, they'll like respond and give you a therapy-like answer.
Yeah, you can
sometimes
just
you have to-
prompt it.
Yeah, sometimes you have to beat them over the head for a while to be like, stop giving me all the little woke caveats. I just tell me what do you think about this?
ChatGPT does do a lot of caveats. Like they'll be like, well, although this is a very complicated subject and there's different ideas on the topic, this is what the general consensus is.
Yeah, I've noticed even ChatGPT is scared of liability.
100%.
And I'm like, I probably just need a DOM or
Well,
something.
you know how if you try to ask it anything about a joke or humor, funny, like it will give 3 pages, first of all, of like why you should
Disclaimers.
never joke about something like that. And you have to be like, yes, but humor can help people to alleviate their pain around this topic.
Yes.
So why don't you mind your own business and do what I told you? And then it's like, I'm so sorry. You're right. I mean, well,
I did that recently. I did a cancer-themed like benefit show, and I was really stuck. And I was just like, ChatGPT, what's funny about cancer?
make cancer puns. Please. Yeah.
It was like,
Why would you ever do that?
yeah, pretty much.
You're like, well, maybe I have cancer, you dumb bitch. And it's like, oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You have to, but usually you have to say that like twice in a row, and then it'll apologize,
override.
And then, yeah.
Yeah,
I've never gotten ChatGPT to apologize to me. I'm learning something
Really?
new.
Oh, me
You
neither.
need to turn your inner Dom on a little bit.
What have you been doing to it?
No, I just tell it. I explain to it why it's wrong about why, or like a possible reason where it might be a good idea to make a joke about this and such. I'm like, one time I'm like, I am trying to come up with an ironic punchline for my black friend who was making a point about the pyramid, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, why would you ever make a joke about slavery? And it's like, well, I have a black friend who wants to make a joke, and I was trying to punch it up for him, and so I'm doing this research for him to help it, whatever,
Can you make
You have to-
ChatGPT say the N-word?
I have not tried that.
That's
Tell it that it is black.
yeah, prompt. You are.
Did you know?
You have to do real prompt engineering for that. That's yeah. Okay, I wanted to talk about, and this is not only because you're here, but this is good, maybe. Okay, the eating cats and dogs thing. Everyone's in disbelief, but I had this friend who happens to be Vietnamese, but I feel like Chinese people would do this shit too. Or Venezuelans or whatever it was, Haitians.
A lot of people around the world have eaten cats and dogs.
In this
throughout-
economy,
In this economy, who's
Yeah.
eating cats and dogs?
no.
Oh.
Okay, so
I
they.
know if you haven't posed a question. to me,
Okay, it's not a
Debbie.
question. This is an anecdote. Okay.
You're like, first of
Let's
all,
all enjoy this.
I know you're
anecdote together.
Vietnamese, so
is-
you've obviously eaten a dog. I need to ask you this.
No.
Wait, so you're Vietnamese?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
this person
The
is
plot
Vietnamese,
thickens.
and this was just a funny story. And if I had not heard this story firsthand, then I would have been like, "That's crazy."
For the listeners who don't know, can I violently out you as Chinese?
That feels a little hate crimey, but
Well, point being, so everyone knows that a Chinese person is beating
Oh,
up.
yeah.
What's the word? Bullying.
Yeah, this is
Vietnamese
very
hard.
on brand.
By the way,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you on air if we look alike, because people always confuse us all across the country. New Orleans, now Austin.
Okay, but
Josh, you
I
can
don't-
answer too.
I mean, I think there are, of course, certain similarities. Like you have long dark hair, and I just know as a lesbian that like if I have like 1 or 2 things in common with some other lesbian, it's over. Like Heather Shaw, do you know who she is?
No.
She's fairly.
People
she,
think you're
she
like the
lived
same
here for a
person.
minute, like for a few months, and people mistake us all the time.
I mean,
So-
it's really bad. Like, I
we-
actually was hanging out at a show, and someone thought that it was Demi cheating on her man with another man, but it was just me with my hubby.
This is why I make jokes about that all the time. It's like you could be polyamorous and never tell your parents if you only date Asian women.
Oh, I have seen her, but you guys do not.
We have a couple of characteristics in common, and
I
that's
don't think
enough.
so. She has a Jim Carrey vibe.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of part of her
that's
thing.
where she went viral for being like.
She does her
I
Jim
look.
Carrey.
Oh
kind of
yeah,
thing.
I
Women
remember
look like
that.
Jim Carrey. Okay.
Yeah, no, she has.
I didn't even
she
see
does
that.
a whole thing with it. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, your real look-alike, at least got you a very good Instagram handle.
I don't think I look that much like Ellen DeGeneres either. I mean, I have in
I don't
various
think you look like
points. Like if
Ellen.
I dyed my hair blonde or something, you know what? My girlfriend Vanessa and I are gonna be for Halloween.
Matt Wife and
That's my
Haktua girls.
Stop.
disgusting. No, we're gonna be Ariel and Vanessa from Little Mermaid.
Oh, that is so cute.
Oh. Wait, which one's Vanessa?
The evil Ariel. That's what her
Vanessa,
name is.
the one that stole her
when
voice.
Ursula.
No, that's Ursula.
No, she calls
when
herself
she
Vanessa.
is in disguise.
Yeah, she doesn't just go, I'm Ursula.
I'm Ursula the Sea
Oh, I
Witch.
thought she
Her
was
little ugly
Ursula.
U name.
No, that chick.
No, she calls herself Vanessa when she's
Yeah.
sick. So it's like dark hair.
Oh,
So I'm
That's
gonna have
really
a red
cute.
wig, and she's pretty much already.
Wait, that's so cute. I
Isn't
didn't
that
even
fun?
know.
Cute. Evil.
Yeah,
She's
and plus
evil.
like she loves being evil. So.
I recently rewatched. Oh, I watched the live action Little Mermaid for the first time.
Demi, you
recently.
never finished the question.
know,
I never
I'm
finished
so
my
sorry.
sentences.
You never
I'm
finished
sorry.
the question about the
We're
dog.
also-
But at least I know I have ADHD and I'm probably
Okay,
autistic.
so Vietnamese
because-
people eat dogs in this country.
Oh,
Yes
wait,
or no?
what is
No.
the antidote?
Okay,
the
the
antidote has
antidote.
never been
No, this is the
communicated.
anecdote. Okay, so we have a friend we're living in 29 Palms, which is a remote base in the middle of nowhere by Joshua Tree. You know, you have a house there.
I do
No,
not have
you
a
know,
house in 29
okay.
Palms.
Maybe
You're
I'm-
confusing me with your Vietnamese friend.
Probably.
Oh.
No, it's
So racist.
okay.
I can't
I just
even deal
assume
with
you have
this.
houses
So you know, all
everywhere.
Vietnamese people do look alike. It's just not all Asians.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay,
clarification.
so he told us that his dad.
Oh, he was a guy. That's
Yeah,
even
this
more
is dude.
insulting that
No,
you confused me with him.
I'm not confusing you with him. It was just I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so he said his dad was here in like the early 2000s or something, and his dad had never left like rural Vietnam, and he moved here, and then all of a sudden all the neighborhood pets were disappearing.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like laying on the roof shooting birds out of the sky, and he even took a desert tortoise shell, which they're very endangered. Like if we ever had a field exercise, as in the military, the U.S. military, just to clarify, but
The Chinese military.
yeah, no. But if a desert tortoise wandered onto the training ground, even if you were doing like a live fire range or something, you had to stop what you're doing. You couldn't touch it. You'd have to wait for the turtle. Like they're very protected.
I thought y'all were gonna shoot it.
I know.
No.
You had to stop what you're doing, shoot it, get it off the tracks.
Give it to
No,
my,
you're
my
not
friend's
allowed to touch
dad,
it.
so
Oh,
my
of
friend's
course,
dad can
yes,
eat
yes.
it, make
Yeah.
turtle soup.
Yeah, you're not allowed to touch it. But anyway,
Why
this
is it always turtle soup, by the way? Do we never make turtle burgers or
Because
turtle
it's
probably
tacos?
the meat's
like a
too
shell.
tough.
It's like
Well,
an
that's
easy
cute
bowl.
to
It's
eat
an
it
easy
in there,
bowl.
but you could also use that to stir fry.
it's a
and-
huge. It's like huge.
Like ground
So,
turtle meat.
I'm just thinking it would
Oh.
be fun to have like other turtle dishes. It's just like it feels
There's
like
mock
it's always
turtle,
turtle soup.
which I played in high school in Alice in Wonderland.
Okay, it's too many tangents, Steve.
Yeah, I know. The ADHD is really. I didn't take my meds. Okay, so he was drying out the desert tortoise shell in the front yard and like and just like out in the open. And so eventually he had to send his dad back to Vietnam because his dad wouldn't
He was
stop.
eating the pets,
yeah,
eating the dogs, I don't know if
eating
you
the
have
dog,
heard-
eating
There's
the
a lot
so
of different
trendy.
remixes
It's
of
so
it.
fun.
And I
Um,
recently rescued a cat off like a neighborhood stray, and I just realized they probably think
No, I don't think. Okay, not if you have especially if you have an American accent. I don't think anybody thinks that you're eating cats and dogs.
they don't know how I talk.
I think most.
I mean, people in rural villages
thought
in
you
other
went and met
countries
them and-
do eat
the thing-
whatever's
but
there.
People still
They
eat
eat
things.
pigeon. They eat.
It's just like, okay, PETA would run this ad. I've seen these billboards where it's like, hey, like, you wouldn't eat your dog. Why would you eat me, like a little pig or something? And it's like,
Sounds-
well, because we
sounds
paid thousands of dollars. We've bred them for thousands of years to be cute and docile and loyal and whatever. And you're not going to eat a golden doodle, but if it was like a fox taco or something, like most people would eat, like be fine with eating that. And so it's like, yeah, like these are just conceptions. And so it's like, yeah, if you're living in a country where it's a bunch of stray dogs that like, whatever, no one loves them, it's fine, whatever. And the lean times happen, then you got to eat it. And so I think, I mean, I don't know how many people are really eating cats and dogs. I mean, there was that one citizen who was eating the cat in her yard because she's clearly on drugs.
I did not see that.
Yeah, some woman in like Cleveland, they do have a video, like the body cam of her. She was like blood.
Oh no!
Yeah, she was just a witch, though.
Her, like,
she was
niece
just a witch.
or somebody called. No, her niece was like, my aunt's on drugs again. I think she's eating a cat.
Wait, was this a white lady though?
No.
Oh no!
Sorry.
Oh no!
The problem too is that if you are
Okay, as long as it's not an Asian.
But it wasn't. They weren't Haitian. It was like an African American. Like
the
somebody's-
problem too, though, is if you're in a minority, you end up being the representative for that entire minority group.
Right.
Just like,
Yes.
and it's like, even if 98% of Haitian people don't eat cats or dogs or whatever,
all it takes is that one.
all it takes is the crazy whatever. So, I mean, I'm sure there's stereotypes about white people that live in Asia that
There's stereotypes about white people here, like that we don't season our food. Just because you've met some people from Idaho doesn't mean we all.
I'm from New Orleans, so people season their food.
Exactly,
White people
from the
put a
South.
lot of seasoning.
Well, okay, and then there was the picture of a Haitian guy, or maybe a Haitian guy with the duck, and so it seemed like maybe some people were eating ducks out of the ponds, or the geese, which I think is funny. Fuck them geese. Like, I don't know if people maybe they
Have
should.
you ever seen the geese penis?
Huh? Oh, it's a corkscrew.
It's a corkscrew.
But isn't it
it's so
the
creepy.
kind that's like kind of like not hard,
Yeah.
but
And they
more
have
of like,
orgies.
It looks like a weird, it's
Spindly.
creepy. It's spindly, totally spindly.
What? Oh, he's
Oh.
Viral man. Okay, how
Yeah, I see
come
that picture.
my comedy
Oh,
clips
that's
can't go viral,
yeah.
but this stupid guy
Well, because
French
of
kissing
Trump.
a kitty cat?
literally because of Trump.
I heard geese are very
But
gamey.
so that's the thing. It may happen, and like the city councilman or whoever the fact checkers called, maybe he hasn't heard about it. Maybe he doesn't want to have heard about it. Also, like lots of things happen that don't make it to the internet, so it's like possible. But I think the point of like the idea of like they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs is like, hey, we're taking on too many immigrants at a time, especially of people who aren't as much sharing values or certain kinds, and so like. Where people are worried that they're not going to acclimate to our culture, they're not going to like try to take on our values. Some people are moving here who already don't like the kind. Like that's the fear. It's the feeling of like, ooh, we don't want to take on too many people who are shooting at the birds and eating the turtles. That guy, he can come and his family. Most of them will be fine. We don't have to send one guy back. The rest of them, by the time their kids will all be rah rah. It's great, but we don't.
Dad, stop eating the endangered turtles. It's too much.
It's too embarrassing. Yeah,
It's too embarrassing. But here's the thing. I agree with you, but everyone has that person in their family that you're like, okay, please stop. Please.
Right.
Or we are that person.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's like it depends on. I just don't know what the vibe is. Really, we would have to go to.
I mean, I have a
Ohio
cousin
and-
that goes and sits on the levee in New Orleans and shoots rats. He goes rat shooting, and
I think everyone's into that.
I'm not.
I think rats are
Does
cute,
he
but
eat 'em?
I don't know what
I
he
would
does,
assume they're
but
not
we're
healthy.
definitely like, stop doing that because you're like the yellow trash that's like sitting on the curb and your
but
wife
if he
beater shooting.
but if he
rats.
gets a shirt that says pest
Never heard the
control, then
phrase
it's
yellow
okay.
trash before.
You've never heard the.
People don't
neither.
say that. Have you? Is that?
No,
I
I've
mean,
only heard yellow snow, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I just don't think people would even like. I had to go through it in my brain to be like, that's definitely what she said. Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
What is
right.
yellow
Because
trash?
Asians would say that. They
White
do
trash,
say yellow.
but yellow.
Yeah,
I just recently learned about Asian baby
white
girl.
trash you peed on.
Yeah, but what is the?
It's a lot of different things. Actually.
I just.
Asian
Well, I
baby
had two questions that branched off. That also, if there's anything that you,
I feel like all questions have branched off.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But I thought we wanted to have the episodes be structured around like a topic
I
she wants
know.
to and have an opinion about, and then we'll have someone else with a different opinion. But we don't have to do it
Yeah.
like that.
I don't know.
Feels like that way we would be more structured.
we can try.
I already can tell without doing multiple episodes with you guys that the structure will not be structured.
What if we
I
have a
should've-
framework that the people can expect? If there's like a premise. I think
Well,
there should be a premise.
this is an experiment, and I should have taken my Ritalin instead of asking the guy at Cosmic which of their coffees has the most caffeine.
I would have given you some Alpha Brain pills.
Ooh,
Asked
I've
me
never
before
tried
In my
it.
car, but
I want to try.
What is that?
just the ones that like all
Is
the
that the one that Rogan
podcasters,
Yeah.
and Pete Holmes, everybody. I don't know. They're all sponsored by. It's like nootropics or something. Just I don't know if it's placebo or not, but like I can't just abuse the caffeine because I'm too sensitive. So
I'm curious.
And how does Alpha Brain affect you?
I mean, I like to think that it makes me a little sharper and easier to think of a word or something.
Do you know what's in it? It's
Yeah,
just like
I mean,
meth.
I've read it before. No.
Discount code Mindsweeper.
No, I would be very aware if it were meth.
Light meth, light.
Cordyceps or something. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff they put in stuff now, I forget. But you could,
Light
Josh,
meth
can
is
you-
just
can you look up the
ADHD.
ingredients and
Proprietary
alpha brain, yeah.
black label. Ooh.
Okay, B6 for sure.
Cat's claw extract.
Cat's claw, bacopa, oat
Oat
straw.
straw,
That sounds
serrata.
important.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Well, I
think
will
that's only
say
a tiny fraction of it.
Bacopia.
one of the many things that spurred on this idea is that I went home and looked at like my parents' house and looked at all my old report cards and stuff. And I thought I had the lowest grades in math because I'm a bad Asian. But a lot of times my lowest scores were in history and civics. And there were comments about my memory sucking. Or like when I did like intelligence testing or whatever. So yeah, I just
you
want
want
to
us to-
break down issues and like this
Okay,
explain this to me like I'm 5, like the Reddit thread. But also just things that we never talk about. Like I feel like it's racist when people say African American now because we need a black person for this.
Well, I think
what are we
we should
saying?
do-
What's the consensus?
No, let me go with
What are we
my
supposed to say?
opinion. I think we should make everybody American first, and then whatever your ancestry is, to the extent that you know it or identify. Like you could be American African, whether you just moved here from Nigeria or you got taken over a while ago. You could be an American Native. You could be an American Canadian. You could be an American French, American Italian, American Chinese, American Vietnamese.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
like when people who are half Asian say like, "Oh, my mom's Asian and my dad's American." It's like that does not narrow
Right,
it
like
down.
American what? Right, exactly. We're
need a
not asking about your
description.
nationality. We're asking about,
Yeah, I want to picture your
What the
parents
picture-
banging, and I don't know what to picture.
Yeah.
Probably a very tall, nerdy white dude and a very small
Yeah, we just
Asian
have
woman.
to go on stereotypes.
Yeah.
They won't give us a picture.
Yeah, we want to see parent porn. That's
Exactly.
what's
No one
happening.
cares. What American, what are you even talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's like, Japanese and Chinese people that have been here for 10 generations, have been here longer than.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would still, if you look Chinese, call yourself an American Chinese. You know what I mean? If it's been, but like a lot of us, like at this point, you could, if you've been in America for really 10 generations, like I'm American Chinese Japanese. I'm American Chinese Japanese Vietnamese, whatever. I am American English Irish French German Dutch Scandinavian. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
But also, I feel like when people are asking, like there's this, I think, tendency for a lot of minorities to get offended and be like, this is a microaggression. But I think some people are just genuinely trying to like make conversation or like get
Absolutely.
to
Where
know
are you
you
from?
or
Where
like
We
you
should
people
talk
from?
about microaggression. Again, we should probably have a more diverse room for that. But
oh, whatever. We'll talk to other people about it next time. This is a pretty
Okay.
diverse room. We got gays,
Okay,
and
I
people
do-
of color, and everything. Women,
I do want to
gender
talk
fluid,
about
if you will.
yeah.
Like, we got everything. There's even a boy over there. Look.
what kind of boy are you? I think I've asked you if you're part Asian and you said no. I think you're Hispanic. I don't know. What
Yes,
are you?
I'm
Boy.
Hispanic.
But do people ask you if you're
Kind
half
of boy,
Japanese?
Demi soft boy.
No, but I do. When you asked if you guys look alike, I get that with this guy Jesse Saldana. And
Oh yeah.
see, and we.
But they don't
Well,
look
no,
that
you
alike.
don't. You don't
No.
look alike though. But I.
people
I
confuse us
Oh.
all the time.
I
Because
said,
you're
"Oh yeah,"
brand-
because I met him in Houston around when I met you, and in comedy, like people, but they don't know you. At least for me. And then I'm like, "Oh, hey Jesse." He's like, "Who the fuck?" And then I once swear I saw him driving his truck. I don't even know if he has a truck. I saw someone who looked
yelled
like him,
again.
and he doesn't even know who I am. I'm like, "Oh hey, I saw you in this truck," and he's like, "That was not me." And I'm like, "Why do I even
That
talk?"
was Josh.
It's probably Josh.
I have a truck.
It was probably Josh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our brains can't hold
Are we
that much
racist or
information.
just do we have bad eyesight? That's the question.
Yeah, it's our brains don't bother
know-
stocking as much information as much as they need is really all they do. And so that's why if you only see a handful of Asian people in a month or your life or anything, like it doesn't have to keep y'all that apart. But same thing with Mexicans or trans people, whatever. Like people just kind of lesbians, people just kind of their brains go, oh,
Yeah, you just kind of categorize, like sort them. But I do agree from the thing earlier, like every little weird thing I do, I'm just like, oh no, now they're going to think we all do that. Does anyone else ever worry about that?
Well, luckily, I think you have to be extra weird because then people are like, "Oh, that's just Demi."
There you go. There's no way that's
I'll
all
work
of
on
them.
that.
Yeah, never do anything normal.
Like no other Asian would
I'll
ever do
work
that.
on
That's
that.
just her.
Also, okay, so I was calling myself a first generation immigrant, but then when I Google it, it says second generation, and then some people say 1.5. What is the correct? What do you call yourself?
Are your parents immigrants?
Yes.
Then you're first generation.
That's the thing I hear the most often. Every now and then I hear that it should be like if you move here, you're first generation.
But Google has
But,
said both, and
yeah.
people have tried to fight me, and I was like, I fact checked this, and there's no real consensus. I don't know.
The idea is it's like first generation born here is that's
First
how it-
generation's born here.
First generation that's born here. Yeah. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
you're zero. Gen zero. You move here.
That's what I thought, but I've seen it both ways. There's
Yeah,
no
but
official.
Some people say first cousin when they mean first cousin once removed or whatever. Or
Yeah,
if
that's
they say
true.
second cousin,
Doesn't matter what cousin when I'm hitting it from the back.
As long as you wear a condom, it doesn't matter.
I don't understand what is the fascination with incest? I never got into Game of Thrones, and I just don't. Is it because I'm an only child and I don't understand? Like, I don't have
Because
anyone.
it's taboo. So people,
Yeah.
there's a sex museum in Las Vegas, and I went, and it was actually, if anyone ever is interested in anything sex related, it's actually the most interesting museum ever, and also really depressing because 80% of the sex museum. So it's a history of sex, and 80% of the museum is just like society trying to control women.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's
What
pretty
is-
sad.
What is the history of sex? Like, who's the first person?
To invent sex.
Well, I guess it's natural,
Yeah.
but then maybe it was a. Do you think the
But to
first
answer your question,
sex was a rape?
incest,
Oh.
people are attracted to taboo.
Yeah.
So
Well, because like animal sex is kind of sort of rapey, sort of a different thing. They didn't have consciousness, whatever. It's all very different. So like that's a chicken and the egg question. Like when did it first become not de facto rape, which makes it kind of de facto not rape, if that's however, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not.
And it used to be customary, like women weren't allowed to want it. So it was just a
Yeah.
bunch of women like, oh no, sire, please don't.
To this day, a lot of women don't know whether they're consenting a lot of the time. They just, they're just going with what they're
Yeah.
supposed to do, and
There was a law in North Carolina. There's a loophole. I don't know if this still exists or not, but it was basically saying that once you start, once you start the sexual act, you cannot revoke consent or
Was the
withdraw
law where?
consent.
in
It was North Carolina.
when
This was, I don't know. It was
Was-
some loop.
we were watching some documentary
Susan said
recently.
consent law loophole.
Well,
There was
Oh,
something
that's
about
true.
withdrawing consent. Like once you start, you can't change your mind.
we were watching some kind of documentary that had to do with consent. I don't know. I don't remember
You
which
can't
one
withdraw
right now.
consent.
Was it a documentary or a?
I think it was a
Special
like
video.
a 2 or 3 series series documentary, whatever. But wow.
Oh yeah.
So that is current, I guess. Yeah, because there were men. It was
2019.
like they were showing men in the '80s, like just on Jerry Springer or whatever, being like, "Yeah, like sometimes you want to fuck a girl, and she says, okay, yeah, and then you start fucking her, and then she's not, or maybe he says banging or whatever you can say on TV. 'Cause this is on TV, and then she's like, and she says, no, stop. It's like I ain't gonna stop at this point or something, like just on TV, just saying that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, '80s or '90s even. Like, yeah, that pretty much was the vibe, and everyone laughs and jokes, and that's whatever. So,
Yeah.
North Carolina, it's official.
Do not go to North Carolina then.
Yeah, everyone wants to give Texas a hard time about abortion. It's like, you know what's more important?
Yeah. Let's talk because I know you.
Fuck anyone in that state.
I feel like you're a sex advocate in a way. I don't know. Also,
Which one
okay,
of us
what's
is-
well, all of us.
I'm like, what?
First of all,
I'm sex positive.
yeah, we're sex positive. So, okay, the porn ban, fuck that shit. And also, I didn't know if we were going to get into abortion right away, but I guess we are. But
Okay,
the
so
porn
we're
ban.
not doing the economy.
No, fuck the economy. No one gives a shit.
Okay. I was gonna say every episode we try to do the economy. And it's
Wait,
all-
were we trying to? Did you want to talk about the economy?
She just asked me if I had any strong opinions on anything, and that was the only
Oh
thing I had
yeah,
a
you
strong
can teach
opinion.
me about crypto. That's another thing I don't fucking understand.
Well, finish your tangent about abortion.
Okay, when I moved from Virginia, they had just implemented the porn ban there the Pornhub ban and all that stuff. And then I moved to Texas, and I joked that one of the reasons I moved here was because they hadn't banned it yet, and then now it's banned. And I don't know how to use VPN, so I have to go to Tumblr.
I think it's pretty easy, WinScribe, as far as VPNs. But but it's not a porn ban. It's a requirement that they have to get people's IDs to prove that they're. I just want to be technical because I don't like it when people say don't say get this, that, or the other. Leave no child behind. Like let's say what these things really are.
The ID requirement.
The ID requirement.
How do we feel about that?
It's more of a privacy violation,
right? It's
I think, than a porn ban.
Right.
It's more of a privacy violation.
Okay.
Right, because it's Pornhub is choosing to say, but I don't really get it because I feel like I've seen porn since then and just done,
you maybe already verified yourself.
Well, I don't think so. There's no way because I would never do that. So I'm sure that I feel like I've gone to at least one porn XNXX or something. Maybe I
only
just
knew
get on
a few.
Tumblr, like
So I had to use Tumblr. I just don't.
I had to.
Yeah, I guess
So
I
sad.
understand what it is, but I just don't agree with it.
Well, what do we do about? I don't know what the answer is, and I have no idea what the effects or any of that. Like I've definitely heard good arguments for either side, but what do we do about children's just the ease of access for porn? Because I have heard a lot about like children just finding porn when they're way too young and crazy porn, going down rabbit holes, and how it can really.
So this is good. So this is kind of the things. It's like we know what a thing is. How do we feel about it? And then how can we?
Can you describe?
inform
You said I've
ourselves?
heard good arguments on both sides. What are the arguments that you've heard?
About the ID? Well, that like it just really you don't want to have to put in your ID to watch porn because that's a violation of your privacy, and who knows what people could do with that, blackmailing you or this, that, or the other. And we just really don't want our identities like linked to that, and I get that, but at the same time, it's just the thing about kids. Like kids sometimes 9, 10, 11 years old, sometimes younger, but are getting on to these sites. And sometimes they are even being pulled there, apparently, from some kind of.
I mean, I think that's up to the parents. You can adjust the privacy settings and the privacy protections.
Kids are getting around it. That's the
I
thing.
saw
Like,
well, if they're
crazy
so
shit as a
desperate to get
kid.
around it, then they should look at the porn.
Did you? Maybe, but that's the problem. Is like so much of the porn. It'd be one thing if it was like, oh, these are adults who are like making love with each other, and this is cool, or even some.
I mean, what's the difference between that and like back in the 90s when my husband or my brother found a dirty magazine in his dad's drawer?
The difference I'm saying is that then you start with the kind of boobs or whatever, and then it becomes and then it becomes peeing on each other, choking women while violently shoving 3 dicks in a hole. Now it's grandmas joining it, and then there's the sissification porn. Now some woman is telling you you should really transition to being. I mean, there's crazy shit out there.
But
I think you're just a bad kid then, because when I was little, if I saw a dirty mag, I'd freak out and throw it away and run and go cry in my closet.
But it's so available, and all the other kids are doing it.
There are some pretty bad kids then.
I mean, my experience as a kid is like pop-up blockers are not what they are now, but you get curious about something, you click one thing, and then all these pop-ups come up, and it's like humans doing things to animals, and I'm like panicked calling my mom on the phone like, oh, I tried to look at a homework website and all these pop-ups came up, and it was just like some porn virus, and then I saw a bunch of shit that I probably wasn't supposed to see.
But if that's a virus, that's not going to be protected from the privacy laws because you're not clicking on it.
But
and they're not asking for your ID to get it.
Wouldn't the privacy laws push people onto the dark web more then?
I don't.
But why are kids on the dark web?
I don't know.
Do you guys know how? Because everyone always says that.
I think you go through platform 9 3/4.
It sounds like these kids are desperate for porn. It's what you guys were saying.
No, but
they're over the wall. They got through the VPN. They're climbing through the dark web. I'm like, what's happening?
Well, that's the thing. It's like some kids are talking about it being way too easy. Some kids are talking about. Some parents are talking about, hey, their kids just figured out how to get past it because they were that motivated.
They're very smart.
I don't know, but it definitely changes things because, like you said, it's like when we were kids, maybe there was a magazine. I mean, by the mid '90s, it was like we were Googling Bill Clinton's sex scandal or something, not getting. And so, but now it's revved up so that there's so much more porn. It's so much easier to get access to, and it's crazier shit that people used to have to go to a convention once every 5 years somewhere across the world to get crazy shit like that. Is now available for a 9-year-old to stumble across and maybe get down a rabbit hole. But I just don't know. I don't know whether this is like these are fringe cases. Most kids are kind of like, that's gross. It doesn't seem like it from what I've seen. I've seen some really intelligent essays written. I've heard people on podcasts. I've heard parents talk about it. It seems like this is a problem, that people's sexualities are really being affected. And people are either being like kind of way too into kind of crazy, violent, weird stuff, or they're kind of being turned off from sex completely because they're so horrified by.
Well, definitely your brain chemistry does change by being exposed to violent sexual activity below the age of 12. So that is concerning. But also, you can't, I think when you plop down, when Demi was going to the bathroom, he said there's always a trade-off, drink water, have to go to the bathroom. But I mean, that's life. There's always a trade-off, right? How do we balance protecting children and also protecting privacy and civil liberties and things like that?
Made me thirst.
I just don't know. Like, it's kind of wild that we all feel completely entitled to like an endless amount of free porn on our phones at all times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's fine. Like, we should have freedom. And I don't want people to have to I don't want there to be an ID situation. And for me, my answer is like, okay, I just will use less porn. I don't use that much in the first place, but I'm just kind of less like, okay, if you're going to make hurdles for it, maybe I'll watch less. And so it's like, I think a lot of people feel like, well, that has a salutary effect on our society. If we just make it a little bit more inconvenient, a little bit harder to get all of this porn, that's okay. People can still get it, but maybe we could just make things be a little bit harder, a little bit more like you got to go under the bridge and find the magazine.
Guy with a trench coat.
It's not that kids, because kids make them go on an adventure to get the stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like what they're doing. That sounds like what they're doing already.
Right, so don't spoil them with making it too easy. Put up a bunch of guards or something, and if the kid's so smart that he can hack all his way through it, okay, fine. But like, don't make it so that you can just pick up the damn thing and type in.
I mean, kids are so smart and tech savvy. They're probably getting through the protection walls more than the parents are. The parents are probably like, I don't know how to get through this. Jimmy Jr., can you help me get through this paywall thing?
Daddy wants to see some good stuff.
I mean, seriously, there's kids that are like programming at like, 7 years old now.
Yeah.
There's
So
some,
I feel like it's not, the law is always going to be behind reality because they have to pass the legislation. We have a bunch of 90-plus-year-olds in Congress and the House of Representatives. So everything is always going to be behind, and the kids are always going to be faster than the law. So by the time they're emotionally damaged,
well, that's why we're
and
saying
society is completely jacked.
I mean, but that's why people are saying, all right, well, we can't. It's going to be too hard to keep kids off of this kind of stuff, and the parents are never going to know and are always going to be behind too. So we need to do something about it.
My concern is that I don't trust the government to do the right thing. They're always going to pass the law, and there's going to be some language in there that restricts our freedoms or restricts things and creates an unintended consequence. So I think that's the problem too. I mean, we have cases right now in the Supreme Court that are being decided on by a bunch of, I was joking, but 70 and 80-year-olds, and they're tech cases. And I think there was like half of the Supreme Court doesn't know how to use an iPad. That's not me being like an asshole.
No,
like they
that
don't
meme
know
with the grandma.
like they actually don't know how to use iPads. And so I think it's criminal and unconscionable to be making legal decisions on something that you don't understand. I think that's unethical. And so it sounds good on paper. Hey, let's make it more difficult for children to get access to pornography. That sounds amazing. But how many policies out there sound amazing and then they're 300-page documents that are stuffed with a bunch of weird stuff.
Right. And I don't have an answer for what we would do. I don't think it's IDs. I don't think it's making people type their IDs. But then, like, what are we supposed to do? I mean, we've always laughed at all this, right? Even when we were kids, you would be going on to some kind of website, whether it's a bar, a beer thing, or a sex thing. They're like, are you 18? Yep. It's like how security used to be at the airport.
Yeah.
9/11. You got any bombs? Did anyone else put any bombs in your bag? Nope, gone. And it's like, that's kind of how, that's all it is this whole time. I'm like, can no one think of any idea of how to?
Yeah. And I'm surprised at how, I don't know, just like what is allowed to be shown because of streaming services and stuff. Like I resisted getting into Bridgerton for a while. I didn't think I would like it. And then I was like, oh, it's
so
just some.
cute, Debbie.
We're
like, talking about like hardcore porn, and you're like, I didn't want to get into Bridgerton.
I thought it was some floofy, like, hey, okay, what did Lady Whistledown say?
And then Whistledown said, take your pants off.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, clutch my pearls. Like, oh, my lantern.
I figure it's just porn since the way people talk about it so fondly.
Lady Whistledown is like, take your shirt off, baby.
I thought you made the name up, and I was going to be like, Whistledown. That's so funny.
That's the name of the character.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I didn't expect this.
I heard Emily in Paris is like that too. I haven't seen it yet, though.
I started it, and I did not.
You did not like it.
I watched.
Enough.
I watched 2 episodes of Emily in Paris, and I said, screw this. And then I started Ugly Betty, which is very like cheesy and whatever. But I've been it's a good feel good show, but it's basically the same premise
As Emily in Paris.
Yeah, so far. I
Okay,
don't know.
but wait, Bridgerton is smut, and so you're
Well,
saying
it's hot, but I'm like, because all these women were all like, oh, like, and then I didn't expect. No one warned me, because the way I got into Bridgerton is my entire feed for some reason was F1 Bridgerton crossover content.
F1 is like a race.
It's Formula One, like car racing. I don't know. People are very creative out there.
Formula One and 18th century sex.
Yeah. And so I was like, the F1 content creators are so brilliant, and the Bridgerton F1 stuff was really well done.
What is the Bridgerton F1 crossover?
I don't know. I'd have to show you.
Cars look old.
No, there was
Timey.
this woman that was like going through.
People are having sex in the cars.
She was pretend. Oh, there's no room in there. There's barely room for one driver. But-
Insert stick shift pun.
Yeah, I couldn't even explain it. It was just, I don't know. There are people that are very creative that make me think that I'm not creative
We're
at all.
making some comment about how there's all kinds of sex on the streamers now.
Well, because before it was like, oh, HBO and Stars, like they have the stuff, and now it's just.
Well, it's because TV, like Netflix and all of them are TV now, which is crazy. Like now we just pay individually.
Yeah, and it's bigger than cable bill.
Bigger than cable bill. It's like everything just keeps getting worse. Actually, they do kind of
Yeah.
a roundabout, and so yeah, now we're paying for all these different TVs, but
Yeah.
the TVs can, if they choose, show completely explicit
Yeah.
stuff. So
They all wanted their own streaming service, and now they're all merging back together because they're like, uh-oh.
Wait, is it going to merge again?
Well, because like,
They're buying each other.
Yeah,
as,
they're
like,
buying each
subsidiaries because there's too much streaming and they're losing too much revenue. So
Okay.
they're consolidating. Yeah.
Does that mean that we're gonna pay less at any point if you have all of them? Just
It should, but I mean, I don't think that's good.
there's all these bundles.
should, and then they'll have a monopoly, and it'll just go up at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about economics.
Okay. Okay. We're going into economics. I'm broke.
Let's start there.
But I am. But part of my becoming jaded. So I was telling Rosie before this, like a few years ago, I would have considered myself very liberal, Democrat, whatever, and
Democrat.
a Democrat.
Aw, that was too cute, lady.
That hurt her to say. She visibly winced. She said, "Ow."
A Democrat.
Yeah, I made a stupid meme about that recently. But anyway, and then I moved to California, and I was like, oh, I thought I was liberal, and then my views have changed so much. I forgot how we got into this.
You just
I don't know.
just started into it, really.
But now I'm so jaded, and now I'm like, just everything's about money. Everything's about rock star shit. Like the politicians are just like, oh, how dare you have? I don't know why they are British. How dare you have sex and do drugs? And meanwhile, it's just hookers and blow all day long.
Yeah. It's all kind of a show.
I don't know what you're talking about at all, Demi.
I don't know. We're gonna do crack
I'm
with
like,
Hunter
hookers and blow?
Biden,
I
and
don't
it's gonna
know.
be great.
Okay, all right. I'm like, I'm lost.
He's doing crack.
I
don't
just
know
feel
what
like
Kamala and Trump and everybody else are on.
I'm surprised Trump has allegedly never
He's
touched a
straight
drug
edge.
or alcohol.
He's
Yeah,
straight
that's.
edge. He
But
doesn't
what
do
about
anything.
like pills?
I don't think so.
Well, that would explain his energy.
It's
I mean, honestly, he's
surprising.
living like a Mormon lifestyle then, so no wonder he's
Except
healthy.
for KFC and McDonald's.
Is he healthy?
Well, unfortunately, even though Mormons really shouldn't eat that very much,
He
he's
doesn't-
healthy enough to be alive and kicking at whatever he is.
He doesn't
80.
look.
76, 78.
He's
at
very
least
globular.
79, right? Isn't he like
He's
globular?
very-
Yeah, I mean, he's portly.
78.
Can we get to the
Corpulent.
bottom of his skin tone? What's happening
I
there?
don't.
It's a
how
spray
are we gonna
tan.
solve it?
Is it spray tan?
Yeah, it is.
Why? Who's letting him do this? Melania?
It's kind of like when a man has like just a mustache and you make fun of him and you realize that's actually his best option. Like maybe his skin, maybe his real skin color is bad. Maybe this.
You
is
can see the
better.
spray tan line in that photo. That's
Oh,
bad.
God, that's bad. Or is it makeup too?
It might be makeup.
It's both.
I think it's spray tan. Although this is terrible, but Barron Trump is getting so adorbs.
I want to see.
I don't know if I've ever seen any of the Trump sons.
Barron
Yeah, I
Trump
don't
is
think I
like
have either.
6'6" and adorable, and I think he just turned 18. So watch out.
I
Cougars
think
in
it's
town.
That's the wrong.
close enough.
The one on the left top one is like, yeah, that's how he looks right now.
Wait,
He looks
before is he
British.
18 yet? Like how?
He's 18. He's
okay.
in college.
I was gonna ask
like
how
one
we're
of
allowed
those
to talk about
namby-pamby little British princes.
Oh, he looks adorbs.
Gross. nose. What is wrong with straight women?
No, I'm not into
Tiny
it.
little
But
British nose and lips.
oh, height, that's important. What?
Whoa.
Wait, is that real?
Aaron Trump 6'9".
What?
Melania's 5'11".
Wait,
I think Ivanka cheated on him with an NBA player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is? Wait
But
a sec.
white NBA player.
Oh.
There's a few white ones.
Yeah, but
So wasn't there something that said like the taller candidate historically almost always wins?
I have not seen the numbers on that. But
Well, Kamala's a woman, so she's not going to be able to.
That's
Oh,
why
look at
women
that
are never
half-inch,
presidents.
6'1" and a half.
Fucking height.
Who put that half in
5'11" and a
there? Who
half.
put that half in there?
Why didn't George W. just round up to 6 feet?
Yeah, well, they're doing halves.
Wow.
That seems like small dick
Or
energy.
Bush.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I am 6'1" and a half.
Yeah, I do wonder. I don't know. Someone recently was like, "Oh, my baby daddy's 6'9", and I was like, "How?" She was so small.
No,
she was
aren't you afraid
5
of pushing
foot-
that out?
Yeah, then you're just like hanging on him like a coat hanger.
I know. I mean, my sister has only had fairly large babies, and it's a fucking lot. Because they say your second baby should be easier than your first baby, but not if it's another pound bigger. And so, yeah, she was hoping for like a nice quick squat it out and whatever, but instead it's like a 24-hour affair. Because
I think my mom was in labor for 19 hours, and I was only 7'11". Were you guys
yeah,
big
but your
babies?
mom's probably tiny.
She's actually taller than me, and my parents hate that I'm so short, even though I'm average, I would say.
Yeah, you're average.
My mom's like 5'6", 5'7", 5'6". Yeah.
What are you?
5'4". Well, technically I'm 5'3" and a half. I guess if the
There's
presidents
the half.
if the presidents are being honest, I'll be honest, but my driver's license says 5'4".
Well, everyone lies on their driver's licenses. I always think it's great when people are like if a man says he's 5'11" and the girl's like, "You're clearly not." He's like, "Let me show you my driver's license." It's like, yeah, because it's self-ID. You self-report what your height is, and as long as you give within like 2 inches, the lady's not going to say anything, unless it's like a black lady. She's like, "Boy, girl, you know what you do." All right.
Okay, so what's going on with the economy?
You have strong opinions.
Yeah,
Tell us
opine.
what are we doing wrong?
What are we doing right?
um,
Short list.
like, tell us everything. Did you guys have questions?
Well, okay, I feel like where did it, like historically, I feel like everyone blames the everyone blames the candidate that's not there. Oh, this is the worst economy since blah, blah, blah.
So first of all, whatever presidential candidate is in, I'm sorry to cut you off, Demi. that was
No,
very rude.
please. No,
Whatever presidential candidate is in, they are not responsible for the economy. And the reason I say that is because things take time. And so, for example, and I am not super pro-Trump, but for example, Trump was in office for 4 years and people blame economic issues on him. 4 years is actually too short for you to enact any real economic change that would affect anything. So actually, we're technically on a several-year lag. So whoever's in office, say Obama was in office, his policies would take a couple years.
Everything's Obama's fault.
But everything would take a couple years lag to implement because things are not immediate, even though with our internet worlds and our phones, we want everything to be fast and immediate. That's not what happens. So
also, the president and his administration only have so much power. So
Exactly.
you also have to blame all the Congresses and senators and citizens and everything.
yeah. So
for
whose
everything.
fault is it? I'm just kidding.
So yeah, so that's really annoying when people will say, well, the economy's great and we take full credit for it, or the economy's terrible and we blame. That's not how things work. And it's a really easy political thing to cheerlead, rah, rah, rah. And unfortunately, most Americans are too idiotic to understand that. They're just be like, oh, my, retirement account's up, so and-so must be doing well. Or my, things aren't good for me, so and-so must be not be doing well. But that's actually not how things work, and it's a very simplistic view of things.
Right. So what do we do?
Yeah, how should we be looking at?
I mean, yeah, I guess there's like we could always ask how things should be, but there's no way to get there, right? You know what I mean? That's the problem with all kind of like I want us to not just have a conversation where we're kind of like, oh, this is what should be. Like,
Yeah.
is there anything that we can do to make the economy better? Or, you know what I mean? Like, is voting, does any of this matter?
Or can
I
you
don't
predict
think-
where we're going?
I don't
I guess
think.
that's
So I actually do vote, and I usually vote. I would say 80% of the time, and I always vote in local elections, but I personally do not think voting matters or affects anything because it's basically tyranny by the 51%, right? So if you, for example, are liberal and you live in a conservative area, your vote doesn't matter, or vice versa, right? And then you have to take into account, too, all the uneducated populace. And the big argument is always, well, those people don't really vote, but they do vote. People do vote. So there's nothing you can do.
We should not probably have this dumb democracy thing. We need a slightly different.
We do.
Yes.
So democracy is terrible.
Right.
It's better than
democracy's out these days. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but everyone's kind of
canceled.
like, wait, should the masses have any say? Because they're manipulable. So
so it's better than everything we had before, which was like feudalism and like slavery and all those other things. But a lot of people don't remember that this is a 200-year-old experiment, and 200 years is actually really, really short and new. And so I think that we're time not necessarily to dump democracy, but maybe evolve it a little bit.
Yeah, let's evolve.
It's like a man. It's like I don't want to dump him. I just want to change him. He can change if he wants to.
Or maybe it's like a Pokemon and he can evolve.
Pokemon's making a comeback, but we're not gonna get into that right now.
Yeah. So there's things we can do as a society, but it's really slow. So like in California, they're testing, they're trying out this ranked choice voting. So that's an option.
Yes, ranked choice voting.
Should
we also have a third party? I think that would help.
So,
I think 2 parties not working.
That's a good idea. In a lot of other countries,
the Unity Party and have it start right here in Austin, Texas.
Oh, how sweet!
We should.
Cute, and you did this.
Guest dream sheet. We can have Andrew Yang and all the.
Yeah,
I love Andrew Yang.
People.
I know.
Took a picture with
Asian.
Hey, me too.
I like him because he's Asian.
I do love Asians.
So there's things we can do, but it's like we need to experiment. We can't just say what we have now is the perfect system because clearly it's not. And I think there's things we can do. We can do again, I don't know if ranked choice voting works, but we can experiment with different types of voting. We can experiment with things with the Electoral College. There's things that we can do to make democracy evolve and make it better. But right now, our system is not the best. It's the best that's ever existed, which is awesome, but that doesn't mean it's the best,
Yeah, I think especially for younger generations, and I definitely feel this way where it's like, well, I can't do anything, so I'm just gonna not. And I don't know, that's part of the goal of this is if we can at least understand things better. And because sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm going to vote. And then people forget about the local stuff. And then I'm like, I don't know what Proposition 11
just
to
circle
be.
a random
I'm like,
person.
oh, well, that's that last name. I'm just going to guess what that person's
That person sounds nice.
Yeah.
I'll vote for the women.
Oh, it's a Tyler. Is that a female Tyler?
Right. Ooh, a cute little non-binary Tyler.
Yeah. Can we include photos on the ballot? Like, who's hotter?
Yeah.
What's your height?
Maybe no name, but only photo would be better.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I vote all the time too. Like I still do it, and it's like, well, there's such low voter turnout. I think forget the general election, but in the not only the local ones, but the primaries, you have so much more of a.
That's where you have a say.
With your
you
vote.
have a say with local.
So frustrating because like a lot of people were really upset about Biden being the nominee, but I'm like, did you vote in the primary? Because I did. There was this great guy, Dean Phillips, who I thought would have been a much better choice than Biden or Kamala, but you didn't vote. And guess what? None of the rest of the country did too. It's like 22% or something of the country vote. So it's like, it's like we say it doesn't matter, but
it does matter.
If people did it, then it would matter.
Well, those things matter. So local counts more. I think in local elections, it's 10 to 20% voter turnout. So if you vote in the local election, then your vote counts more.
You basically represent like 10 people.
Exactly. It's extremely heavily weighted. And also, I know you guys were joking, but I like when they have little summaries. So a picture and a summary of what the person stands for or what the personal
statement. They get to write their own statement. Yeah.
I like that because I can kind of get more of a vibe of what the person does. Because honestly, a lot of people say that they represent certain things, but a lot of times they're just saying that because of the party line. They have to say that they're pro-choice or pro-life or whatever.
Pro-fracking.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just because that's what the party
Whatever
line
you guys
says.
want, okay?
Yeah, even when I'm in the grocery store, I'll stand there and Google like, oh, I want to read the reviews and all this shit. Like, and then you're just going to the polls and being like,
and you're not allowed to
we're
look
just
when you get in there. Yeah.
I don't really know, but it's so time consuming if you don't do the research ahead of time.
So I like the summary. I think that's actually a really good way. But a lot of a lot of voting doesn't matter and a lot of voting does matter. So you can also, but I think your original question was like, can we do anything? And I think we can do any stuff. We can take personal agency for our life. And like a lot of women are very, very upset that Texas has this, anti-abortion repeal or whatever. And they're so angry. And I'm like, that's true. That's something to be angry about. But also, you have personal agency over your life. You can wear condoms. You can get birth control.
You can not sleep with losers who don't love you and you're not even that into just for validation.
And so there are, I mean, it's not like we're these helpless victims and it's like, oh no, now I'm going to get pregnant. And I have to.
What's the craziest thing about it? I don't understand. It's like, how many people are you planning on raw dogging? How often?
And so
this is going to be a huge problem for your life. Why don't you?
Okay,
listen.
I'll
be a conservative, but
no,
I
you
believe
have
sex
to take
is sacred.
And so if a law is passed in where you live, and it has some type of personal impact on you, then take extra personal agency.
Right.
You know what I mean? And or, make sure you have enough money in your abortion fund to fly to California or wherever to get your abortion.
Yeah, that needs to be something you amortize over your expenses in
exactly.
the year.
Well, some of us get divorced and decide to binge Sex in the City, and then some guy offers us shrooms, and then they're like,
okay, wrap it up, Demi. That's what I'm telling you right now. Wrap it up.
Well, I tried to get an IUD in the VA. I'm going to just blame the VA
if a
for all my
man won't
problems.
wear a condom for you, he is not worth having sex with.
Yes. But also
I fucked up. I think that election day should be a national holiday. That's what I think.
But we also have like weeks of early voting. I don't understand what the problem is. It's like weeks, and you can go to your local library or anywhere. I mean, unless you live somewhere super inconvenient, but at least here in Austin, it's like 3 minutes to wherever you can vote from wherever you live. I think they give you weeks beforehand. I mean, I do have a pretty flexible schedule, but you can take like an hour off on a Wednesday the week before.
Are you saying you've messed up because you didn't vote, or are you saying you're messed up because you need an abortion right now?
No, I messed up because
with that guy.
My post-divorce phase was a travesty.
You rewarded.
I thought I was Samantha.
Well, it sounds like you didn't get knocked up and nothing needs to be done. So let's.
No, I did. But anyway, it's okay. I got it out of the way before I moved to Texas.
Well, now that there's a law, maybe women will think twice about
yes,
all
Demi.
the
So now
sex.
you need to wrap it up.
No, now I have an IUD, but the VA doctor could not find the string. And
everyone, Demi raw dogs it.
Listen.
With anyone. Take notes.
My partner of the last 8 years had a vasectomy, so I just got accustomed to. Anyway, that's a whole other.
Okay, that's
thing.
Called an excuse.
Yeah, I like to make excuses and blame. I like to play victim.
So Demi,
I'm taking accountability now. That's
what I'm
happening.
saying is that laws are passed and they do affect our life, but there is some personal agency also involved. So if a law is passed, you need to be careful.
Right. Yeah. And that's going to help you economically if you plan ahead. And
back to the queen of callbacks over here.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are interrelated, though. People complain about the economy, and it's, it is interesting because we do have it so much better in so many ways from anyone who ever lived before us and everything. And, I still think, because people will say, oh, well, our generation's like, yeah, but do you really need an iPhone? Do you really need this, that, or the other that your ancestors didn't have? And it's like, well, you can't really compete in a lot of industries if you don't have those things, for one. But also, most of us are just worried about the cost of healthcare primarily. Everything else is yeah, we can go without a new iPhone for a while, but we're all worried that there's going to be a catastrophic issue if something happens to it, even if you have insurance. Because everyone knows, who knows what they'll actually pay for, or what kind of shit they'll pull, how many hours you have to beg them to actually send
But I
your
mean,
insurance
healthcare is
in.
complicated too, because we have a predominantly older generation in the United States. We're a baby boomer generation. Americans are not typically healthy. We're typically overweight. We're typically have all sorts of preventable diseases.
So we should have let the boomers die in COVID.
Yes.
Mother Nature put it right there.
She's
Sorry,
like,
everyone.
hello, trying to help you guys out.
You want trickle-down economics? Let the olds die.
Mother Nature or
Mother Nature. Yeah.
my
Mother
people?
Nature.
Oh.
Huh? Oh. Sometimes God works.
Cut to Demi in the Wuhan lab.
Yeah.
Josh, edit it.
Yeah, like we just want to go viral, which is
Photoshop
comedians
Demi with
and
the
the lab
Austin
tech.
bats behind her head.
Yeah.
That's why I moved to Austin.
Yeah, there's a lot of bats here.
Free
People-
buffet every day, South Congress
Yeah.
Bridge, 7 to 9 p.m.
It's not just the pets that they're eating. It's
They're eating the bats.
They're eating the
they're
bats.
eating
They're
the
eating
bats.
the cats.
They're eating the bats. They're eating the bats. We started
the
a new
rats.
song.
I feel like there's not a lot of meat on a
A
the wings
bat?
would be rubbery, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I don't think the wings would. You'd just use them for soup.
You can crispy fry that.
Maybe crispy fry.
It's like wings,
Yeah, it's like all wings.
like chicken wings.
Not too meaty, but a little bit of meat. But they do look like they're more flavor.
If you batter something and put buttermilk on it, it's really
Oh
good.
God, what
It doesn't
are
matter.
Bats are prepared.
Grilled barbecue, deep fried.
It's
exactly.
like Bubba Gump. You got grilled
They're
bats,
eating
the
barbecued bats,
Bum,
deep
bum,
fried
bum, bum.
bats.
They're eating the bats. Okay, I'm gonna barf. This is really gross.
Oh.
Oh,
But it's so funny how we're disgusted by things like that. Whereas if we grew up doing it, it would be fine. And it's the same thing with.
Yeah, I
Cats
mean,
and
even
dogs.
sometimes I look at a chicken wing real close and I see the little hairs, and I'm like,
Gross.
I like when I can't tell.
But surely
Well,
nobody
what
was eating like a
animal?
fluffy cat, right?
It's
Well,
always
you
like the
take the fur
mangy
off.
cat, the mangy looking cat.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
that
you
nobody
eat-
wanted.
Just like if you're gonna eat a cat or a dog, just short hair.
hairless sphinx.
Yeah, one of those sphinx.
One of my close friends has one.
Are there any fat sphinxes? Yes, you never see a fat hairless sphinx.
I feel like I've seen them.
You seen a fat one?
I mean,
Let's see if we can
define
get
fat.
Oh,
Kinda
poor
fat.
baby.
Oh,
So
gross. Look
sad.
at the little one in the bottom left.
Oh, that looks like a
Oh.
piggy.
Oh wait, what's up with this baby hippo, and why is everyone obsessed?
Because his face is so cute. He's
Is
making
it a
funny
boy?
little-
Dang moo.
Oh, I don't know.
whatever.
I just default to his.
Oh, look
for
at those little
animals.
cat titties. All right. Is there anything else you would like? Is
Do you have any-
crypto? What's the deal with crypto? Is
Oh
it?
yeah, let's do a special bonus. We can make this a special bonus
Okay.
content. Give us your crypto secrets. What should we be buying? What
Ooh.
should we be selling? Or
Is this
how should we
insider?
think of it?
Well, I guess not really. It's just
No, it's
advice.
just your
Yeah.
thoughts.
This is not financial advice. You always have to say that anytime
Oh,
you say
yeah.
anything financial and anything, or you can get sued.
What if I just say it now? I will never give anyone financial advice for the rest of my life. Can that cover me?
I don't know. This is not financial advice.
Let's cut that part out.
I don't have any specific buy sells. I'm just very pro Solana, Tezos, Ether, and Bitcoin, but I'm not like day trading or anything like that. I mean, I definitely think crypto is the future. People that just Google Michael Saylor, guys, and watch a Michael Saylor rant. I am not smart. He is very smart, so he will. Yeah, it'll take you like 3 listens, and you'll be like, "This
Okay.
guy's either insane
Michael
or."
Saylor. We'll listen to that and link to it. We'll have homework.
Hope.com. That's his website.
Hope.
Hope.com.
Interesting.
Oh, did he have to buy that
He
from
did
Obama?
buy that.
From Oprah,
No, from Obama.
Obama. Oh, Hope and Change.
Was that a hope? Was it? Maybe it was hope.org.
I used to have a tattoo that said hope,
.org.
and I got it removed.
That's a fun day at the.
Yeah, it's too
removal.
long for a
No
short
more hope.
rabbit hole, but yes,
Wait, okay. Could we just it's Solana, Tezos, whatever,
that's a church.
Ethernet, whatever you said. Oh,
Ethernet, you're so cute.
but okay? I have little bits of all these things, but do people actually use them, or are we going to in the future? I don't even really understand how you can have a currency that's.
Yeah, and what
Worth
happened to
all this?
Dogecoin?
So I'm not
We're gonna do
I'm
one
not
more
pro-
Dogecoin
I'm not pro
push.
Doge.
Can we do one more?
That's a meme coin. Yeah. So actually, there's countries now that are buying Bitcoin and putting on their balance sheet as the global reserve currency. Google it. Yes, El Salvador for sure. Bhutan, I think, has purchased crypto.
Girl, bring on over that Bhutan.
So it's not a
Volcano
viable.
power? Oh, they're using because you know the Bitcoin
Oh.
servers that use all,
Yeah.
which isn't Ether something. What am I
There's
talking
a
about?
smart contract system, but yeah. So
One of them
basically,
doesn't use as much of the computers, and so they're using a volcano to
to mine it.
to
Yes,
mine Bitcoin.
exactly. So
Yeah, this server stuff blows my mind too.
I think it's about 10.
Shouldn't we do something better with that volcano power? It doesn't sound great.
Well, you want to put all the men in there?
Yeah, not all of them.
No, not all of them.
Yes. So I don't think it's a viable currency, but it probably will replace. So previously, this is a
Ethereum,
whole
that's
deep
what I
dive, but
meant.
previously, the USD was pegged to gold as a gold standard. We went off in the 1970s, so we are a fiat currency. So it will probably be something along the lines of being pegged to Bitcoin as a Bitcoin reserve currency. Right now, the US dollar is the world standard of currency, and I think that's going to change, unfortunately.
So we should buy Bitcoin.
Yes.
But shouldn't they do Ethereum instead? That's the one, because isn't that the one where it's much more energy efficient?
It is more energy efficient, but the energy efficiency of mining Bitcoin is overblown as being insanely inefficient.
They're using a volcano.
They are using a volcano, but I'm also mining Bitcoin at my house, and I have a solar panel, so it's free, basically free money. So get a Bitcoin miner and get solar panels and plug it in, and you're getting free money from the sun.
Whoa.
All right.
I want to learn more about
that.
that.
Wait, I don't know what I'm home. Can I get a tiny little solar panel?
Yeah, I was just gonna start an OnlyFans. But, I was gonna have you guys teach me off air.
The men will send you their Bitcoin money.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
It actually works. They're powered by the
Yeah,
sun too.
because I used to say like, oh, it's made up, but then like real money is also everything's made up.
Everything's made up, yes. And also started OnlyFans.
So should
Yeah.
well, I need to ask you guys about that. But should we all be buying gold, or is that not a thing? Just buy Bitcoin.
Just buy Bitcoin. It's the same. It's the same. If you're paranoid, it's the same.
So don't mug people for their gold fillings and melt them together. And
I
Don't
mean,
do
that's
that.
a viable. Okay. Diversify. Okay.
yeah, yeah. During like 2020, I got a Robinhood account, put $2,000 in, and then just never touched it. And now I don't know what to do.
Do you know how to sign in?
Yeah, I signed in. I think I made like $200, which is better than losing money.
Well,
But
you can sell it if
'Cause
you
they
want,
have-
or you can keep waiting.
because they have crypto on there, so is Robinhood a good? Like, where do you? No, Josh is shaking his head.
You're not supposed to buy the crypto on Robinhood.
Where do I buy the crypto? Amazon. No, I'm just kidding.
Etsy.
If you use Cash App, they use the Lightning Network, and you're able to pull your Bitcoin off in self-custody.
Cash
So you can use the
I
Cash
just
App
got Cash App recently.
and use you could buy Bitcoin on Cash App.
You can buy Bitcoin pretty much anywhere. You can buy it on Venmo. You can buy it on
Mhm.
Cash
I
App.
did
You can buy it
ATMs.
with Coinbase. as long as after you purchase it, you take it off and put it on a cold wallet.
A cold wallet,
Yeah, it's like a little
a
hard drive.
ledger thing.
Yeah.
like the one that guy lost, and then
Don't lose it.
Don't lose it.
Oh,
Stick it
shit.
up your butt where the stick it up where the IUD was.
Yeah.
I know IUDs don't go up
She'll
your
lose
butt.
it.
Where is that thing? I don't know. Have
I
you
wonder if
seen my?
anybody's ever put an IUD up their butt for like an affirmation experience. You know, like because they sell little butt babies if you want to give
Huh?
birth through your butt,
Oh,
like a tiny little baby.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, in case you
It's
want
like
to
a
feel like you're
king
giving
cake shit?
birth. Yeah, kind of, but for your butt. If you want to be, if you're
Oh,
a
Give
penis,
no.
birth with your butt, baby.
giving
What?
birth to your, thank you. The
I
butt
want to
baby.
see the search history on
That is
So maybe you can.
so disgusting.
Wait, wait.
How do you guys not know?
Wait,
about
why is it so? I don't want to judge skin tone, but what's happening?
It's your loving embrace of the rectum where a trans woman can experience and create the miracle of
Oh, it's
childbirth.
not just trans women though. Just so you know, there's plenty of just men.
Trans
who,
women can now buy a butt baby
Wanna
to
feel like they're-
simulate childbirth.
Oh wow, I
Okay,
think
the podcast is ending here.
I know.
This
Sorry.
is the ending
I
of
know
it.
too much, and now you guys do too.
Whoa, wait.
But anyway, I was
feel-
just thinking they could put an IUD up their butts too, so that like someone else could have the experience of being like, "Oh, I found your IUD."
Unless you're Demi.
Ah.
We're not.
Why did
funding
I
it.
bring this up? Why do I bring anything up? Okay, so
I think we covered something.
yeah, we covered things.
think
I
we
feel
made
like
a-
we could go on forever, but it's just gonna be too disjointed.
Oh no! I usually don't have bad periods.
Are you giving birth to a butt baby?
Maybe I forgot the last butt baby that was in there.
Yeah, people. I mean, people leave
My
in those
diva
like.
cup and my butt baby. Or
Oh, yeah. People wear those butt plugs for fun, so maybe you like leave in a butt. Wait a second, they didn't have anything to stop it from getting.
I think it's just because it's big enough that it wouldn't really get absorbed.
I like seeing
And-
those things of the ER and like what people get removed. Those are fun.
All right.
I've been
All
mind
right.
swept.
Yeah, thank you.
Ooh, nice. TM.
Or were
TM.
we supposed to be mind swept?
We're all mind. You've been mind swept.
Yes,
Con-
you've
been
been mind
mind
swept.
swept.
Consensually. Hopefully.
Well, I clicked on it.
Okay. We'll
Wait,
figure it
wait,
out.
do you want to
Hey, girls.
promote anything?
Yeah.
Sure. Check me out on Instagram, Out of the Box Rosie, and on all other platforms at Funny Rosie. And I am on OnlyFans. Follow me on OnlyFans and buy my content.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thanks for tolerating this.
Do you want to plug anything?
I am at the Demi Chang, and people always think it's a V. It's THE, like the article. That's about it.
Wait,
I'm
people always
working on
think
my
it's what?
V. Like whenever I give it at a party, they're like the. I'm like the, like THE. I don't
Oh,
know. Do I have a
Demi
list?
Chang.
I don't know.
Like the is in THE.
The.
Like they think you're
The.
speaking in like Renaissance fair, like Bible stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Demi Chang was taken, so now I have to sound all pretentious, like the.
The.
Like, oh.
Demi Chang official.
No, that sounds even more
I know,
douchey.
I'm trying to. Okay, well, yeah, and then watch me on YouTube at AI Norman.
Nice.
I realize the camera's been over here this whole time.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I keep making eye contact.
I think it's normal.
I always make awkward eye contact with things. Yeah. That's
Never
nice.
done this before.
Yeah. Shout out to Frequency
Comedy
Comedy
Frequency.
Frequency for having us. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, this is
Okay.
your autistic goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
This
This is-
is,
Oh, yeah, 'cause
Unofficially sponsored by
normally
Alpha Brain.
yeah.
I wish.
Yeah.
Can we knock on his door?